Same exact scoreline. Very rare feat. We'll see if it's replicated tonight. But when it does come to Team Queso versus Hive on Regency control, a lot to take away from them. They did a great job controlling the M-bar, but off the rip, as I was trying to set up that narrative, Xploids is running away with the M-bar. So already a strike against Team Queso. They've got to find a way to battle for that M-bar. It's too powerful in Xploids' hands.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit too powerful there. We know Xploids will rarely miss with that weapon. But first blood coming out from the boys of Team Queso. And they're going to be dropping down low here towards the garden. Currently looking like the Rose Bowl here, folks, okay? As both these squads trying to fight for control over this neutral hill. And this is going to be one of our scrappier hills out there. You know, based off the size of it, based off all the areas in which you can kind of contest and how these players are spawning up. You know, if you can get a lot of time off this hill, that's going to be a big win for some of these squads.
It really is. And, you know, me and Jacob had the narrative yesterday that hill number 1, it's great to get a good start with, but it's more of a placeholder to set you up for hill number 2, because hill number 2 is where you can really start to gain your stride. At that point, the power weapons have kind of, you know, already disseminated. You can already tell now, right? Xploids doesn't have the M-bar anymore. It's already gone. I don't think there's any nades currently in anybody's hands. So you can start setting yourself up nicely for the next 15 seconds remains on this hill. Team Queso did a phenomenal job locking in as many points as they could. My only concern for Fire and Ice Blaze is they are still challenging this hill and they don't win it, and now they're going to be spawning out where Team Queso is already going to be on the fresh hill. Granted, they're going to have to fight tooth and nail for it. Scavzy picks up one, goes in. Ooh, he got a little confident there, but Toti said, hey brother, slow down a little bit.
Yeah, but he had to step up to him. You see how Toti's kind of weak there, as he is the last member of F&I trying to defend his hill, waiting for a squad to get here. I love the smoke. He's not pinged. He has help on his right. He can slow walk to the edge there if he wants to, but he knows that no one's going to contest him just yet, and his teammates have plenty of marks. So F&I, they are funneling this fight towards the direction in which they want it. But Bronny with a right hand soaks up some damage. Him and Scavzy kind of get locked up on his cover. Gonna have to spread out here just a bit. Most of their utility grenades being used, but can they get the first down? These players are soaking up damage, looking for the revives, looking for one of their teammates to make the play. But F&I's defense is just too sound when it comes down to this brochure here.
Yeah, wonderful job. I mean, you know, when they played against, by the way, Xploids already picking up the second M-bar. It's gonna be a bit tricky to get away. Should be all right. His teammate is gonna go in and bait and switch. That's Fearzly, who I want to highlight him. Yesterday, he was playing absolutely incredible on control, picking up so many eliminations. Execution, he also held his own. It's what we expect. One goes, bites the dust, but then Scavzy will pick him up, and I think that drops the M-bar, if I'm not mistaken. So this is gonna be a big win for Team Queso. If they win this hill, they'll also get that M-bar as well, and they do.
All right, so M-bar's in the hands of Scavzy, and as far as the scrap time on our hill, it goes to Team Queso, but F&I, they got the lion's share of it. You're gonna see that they're already rotating towards gold, actually over here towards luggage, as they're gonna be set up once again. The Lancer fire is there. They had their defense pressed out just a little bit further, and I love that from Fire and Ice. You don't have to set up directly on top of the hill. If you know exactly where your opponent is, set up that first line of defense as far forward as you possibly can. Let one person collect points, you know, kind of block off the spawns, and from there, you'll spawn up and you can get back to that hill and contest.
Toti moving in. He played very well yesterday. Looks like he's going to continue that streak going forward. That's 2 down with the help of Dyslexic. That's going to be 3 out of the way. Scavzy, he's going to be left to bleed out. Fire and Ice retakes the hill. Team Queso spawns way out on the opposite side of the map. They've got a long distance to travel. Only about 35 seconds remains on this hill. Fire and Ice should be able to get every point. And Pell, he's going to have to battle through 2 different players. Not going to be easy whatsoever. Dyslexic, he chooses to tip out. He does fall though, so Pell does pick up that elimination. But the big thing, Blaze, is the hill is still in control of F&I. Team Queso continues to push forward, but you can already see on the minimap, Toti, he's rotating for new, and Team Queso, they're going to be on the opposite side of the map, not ready for it.
Yeah, so as we are going to be going up top, towards the top center of the map where the M-bar spawns up here at Statue, you're going to have Toti. He's already in position, right hand, but he's soaking up a lot of damage. That shot grenade will stop the M-bar pickup. But Toti, he has to back up just a bit more. Yachty had an opportunity to get it there if he wanted to, but he chose to go for the fight. Seemed a little indecisive there for a second, as if, you know, he wanted to pick up the kill. But Toti, man, he was sound in his decision-making there. He knew he had to fight. He wins the battle. And ultimately, Fire and Ice, they're set up on a hill with the power weapon.
Third time the M-bar spawned up, and for all 3 times, Xploids gets it. And even though he died off earlier last time, he ended up passing over to M-bar to Team Queso with 5 additional rounds. Again, that is Fire and Ice prioritizing their lanes, prioritizing the weapons. And again, you cannot give the M-bar to Xploids. You can't give the M-bar to anybody on the team of Fire and Ice or anybody you're playing against. I mean, it is just too much of a power weapon that can dictate the fight. He eventually falls the hill. Now being contested, Pell forced to back off. Will take down Fearzly. So thank goodness Team Queso wins that engagement. But again, Xploids, you got to shut him down. Don't allow him to get the M-bar. It's too much of an impact power weapon.
Yeah, any of those long-range marksman weapons, any of these players of Fire and Ice in their hands is going to be deadly. Snipers, M-bars, marks, whatever they got, they will put it to great use. Xploids winning his 1v1, 11 seconds on his heel. At this point, he's just trying to contest. He will not win the battle, but he will end up spawning, I think, a little bit closer to his teammates, probably in that bottom left of the mini-map, as they currently are going to have 3 members on top of the hill, as we're going to be moving on over towards Fountains here. F&I, they have the setup, but they're fighting a downhill battle. But that shot grenade is going to turn things upside down, as F&I gets the kills that they need to push forward. Currently a 3v2. They ain't going to have any issues whatsoever picking up these kills, Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, their team fire is incredible. They're aggressive when they need to be. That shock was just perfectly placed to shut down that choke point. I think it ends up dropping 2 players. Another one from Team Queso is battling for his life. He gets Lancer down. One more is still up and ready to fight. But by that time, F&I was already aggressively pushing up to take him down. F&I is going to be passing the 200-point mark by the time this hill is done with, you'd have to think. And Team Queso just at 78. We played at 300, folks. So Fire and Ice is now within 100 points of winning map number 1. Bronny picks up the M-bar. This is the first time Team Queso has successfully got the M-bar off of the respawn.
All right, we'll see what Queso can do with that. And they have a tall task. Look at the score, folks, okay? They haven't even broken that 100-point marker. It's currently a victory lap here for F&I around the map as they're cleaning up these kills. The rest of the scrap time across map at Fountain goes over towards Team Queso. But there's Bronny with that M-bar, as both these squads are getting set up center map here at the stairs where these nades respawn. Gonna have some new heals. Oh, actually, the heal's actually going up top towards luggage. So mistake on that one. F&I will be able to make it to this rotation first.
And they have been making it to the fresh hills pretty much unscathed, right? Team Queso will finally push back. They might be able to win this. It looks great for them as Scavzy picks up this Lex from the corner. Pell was able to help him out. Xploids is now gone too. So Team Queso will finally lock in this hill. They need just about every single point. Now, comebacks can happen. And I know you were kind of highlighting even our pre-talk yesterday, that Rise matchup where, Oxygen was down, 50 points. Or I think they only had 50 points, excuse me. Rise had like 200 something. And then all of a sudden, Oxygen started coming back. It ended up being a lot closer than we were expecting it to be. The same thing can happen here with Team Queso, but Fire and Ice retakes the hill, and every point they get is putting them that much closer to 300.
And I love that, because these squads can pick up momentum and they can get their teamwork on point to make these comebacks. And it's something beautiful to see. And it's something that's very skillful at this level of gameplay too as well, because one thing that we got to understand is, especially when it comes down to Gears of War, one of the very first fundamental lessons that you learned in Gears of War 1 was to take your numbers, understand your numbers in the area. 2v1, 3v2, 4v3. Hell, if you had to be that guy to take the 1v1, you need to take your numbers, all right? Now, when Fire and Ice get kills, they do just that, okay? They will stagger their opponent's deaths. They will push you out. They will get the points, and they are never scared to fight, because they know when they got numbers, they will rarely lose that fight.
Starting to get deep into the late game, 270, just less than 30 points for Fire and Ice to close out map number 1. It's looking as if Team Queso is not going to be able to do anything about it. Final push from TQ starting to come in. This is literally do or die. If they make it, they survive. If they don't, well, it's going to be over with. Scavzy has the impart, again, an impacted weapon where he can dictate this fight. Great body shot, but not enough. And Xploids, you talked about his frags yesterday. Well, he just connects onto 1. 5 more points remain, and I think it's going to be wrapped up. 300 to 102. Fire and Ice strikes first. Day 2 split 3 of Pro League with the 1-0 lead.
Ooh, FNI was not playing around with that map number 1, Taylor, okay?
No,
as you said, they were quicker on the rotations. They were winning the team fights. They were just a step ahead in front of Team Queso in so many different ways.
And Fearzly, 28 eliminations. Shout out to him, man. Played absolutely out of his mind. One thing that I really appreciated seeing from Fire and Ice, and you pointed that out whenever the shock was placed, is you didn't say this exactly, but I knew what you meant. You know, offense being used as defense. Fire and Ice was not scared to get out of the hills. They knew they had one player there still accumulating those points, but they were taking the fight to Team Queso as opposed to allowing Team Queso to push in and then them reacting to them. They were forcing Team Queso to react to Fire and Ice. And that was big. That was, for me, that's huge.
Yeah, no, that's very huge. And even just go back to that point just a little bit more, you know, in Gears of War, historically, you know, we didn't have the hills and objectives on the map. We just had power weapons. And you had to find ways to get those power weapons using your smokes, your lancer, your shotgun, and your pistol, okay? That's where it all began. And then the core of any dominant team's play style was understanding your numbers and taking those numbers and let that be rule number 1. Outside of any other strategy around power weapons and heals and setups, no matter where you are on the map, if you have numbers, you should be able to take an angle wide, put some damage out, and quickly acquire that kill. And I feel like that is the core of FNI's gameplay there. And so we've seen them on several different heals. You know, as Queso, they come up with these strategies, but if they lose a guy, their strategy's not that good. If FNI even smell a little bit of fear, they get that kill, and they get the first kill, they get the second kill, the third, and the fourth in a quick manner. And then from there, you got to talk to your teammates, respawn, and ask yourself, do we go contest this again? They got 4 Lancers waiting for us. We didn't break it the first time. So FNI, man, that is the core of their gameplay. They're playing some damn good Gears today. And Team Queso, as we come over here towards Tomb Execution, we'll see which Savage on this team will be able to get these first bloods that they're going to need.
They're going to need it, man. Blaze, you know Tomb. Tomb is a pretty... Man, a lot of solo lanes is what I'm trying to say. A lot of solo lanes, right? You can't really have those big team fights on this map just with how the torque bow is laid out. You have the long shot, and you've got the frags in different areas. So you might have a 2v2. There sometimes is that 2v2, but for the most part, you really have to play on your own and be confident in your play style. Demon was really impactful yesterday during his Rebel matchup, and you can really see how he was able to dictate the pace of the round. He was winning the torque bow consistently. He was taking his fight very well. He would win that 1v1 and then instantly transfer over, help his teammate who was fighting for that mid fight. You also had Identas up top who was winning the long shot consistently as well. Again, you have big impact players. Fire and Ice, to me, has a lot more impact players out other than that of Team Queso. I'm maybe looking at Bronny. Bronny's movement is incredible. His time on VQ really elevated his play style, and I think it elevated his overall competency of the game. It's much like TJ when he played that short stint with UYU. He improved tremendously. Bronny much the same, but the rest of his roster really needs to step it up so they can complement his aggressiveness and his play style. I think there's a lot of potential with Team Queso, but they've yet to show it.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily have to complement it with more aggression, okay? Sometimes that's not exactly what the squad needs there in those scenarios, but I do agree with you that he did get better playing on VQ. He definitely learned a lot of lessons there from that squad. Now, as we head on over towards Tomb, this is a map that is kind of played out similar to how Asylum will be played off the initial of Escalation. It's 1v1v1v1 down the center of the map. And this is where you need some big time players to make some plays. When I used to compete, I played in the 1v1 positions. And, you're going to have some players out there who play it from a defensive standpoint that says, you know what? I just need to make sure this weapon don't get picked up. It's as simple as that. You keep the Lancer there, especially if you know you have an aggressive opponent who feels like he's confident against you. you can get some early damage off him as he's moving around covers. And then from there, you can make your move or just keep him there at bay. But there will be rounds where some of the other lanes aren't working out. Your teammates may be losing their battles. And then you have to ask yourself, well, with me having a right-hand advantage on this side of the map, should I be pushing forward? Can I push forward? How do I initiate this fight? Every single 1v1 player understands how to initiate in their position, how to play defensive from their position. But there are superstars out there who is going to initiate every single time because they understand the significance and importance of getting that first shot off, okay? We're playing esports here, folks, okay? You shoot first, you have the highest chance of winning that fight. Now, if you miss your shot, that's a completely different story. But we're about to go into it's about who shoots first.
Because then they're pushing you. You know, they smell fear, right? And anybody who smells fear, they're going to come straight at your neck, straight at your jugular, right? I mean, that's just the reality of it. Fire and Ice probably isn't going to miss many shots, right? That's just how it is. They're currently one of the best teams in the world. E United out naturally is the best team. You know, you have to put them on a pedestal. Their performance, and I mean, I have so much respect for that roster. I'll talk more about them later, obviously, when they come up into play in their series. But man, they impressed me so much with their win. But you know, Team Queso, who's going to challenge in that 1v1 spot? I'm trying to think to myself, who is it going to be?
So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bronny versus, if we see, you know, probably Bronny versus Dyslexic at the Torque Bow or something like that, right? Okay. Now, you know, regardless of who in the 1v1 spots, like you said, F and I won't be missing too many shots. But if you ain't gonna be missing shots, you got to be able to return fire as well, right? Because you don't take free shots. And if you end up taking some free damage out here trying to run away or get your position and you don't put that out, that's when your opponent smells that fear. So F&I will be aggressive on these Team Queso members. But as soon as Team Queso, you know, takes that first shot, they have an opportunity of giving a second one back that's even better. And you know, the great Nick Merckx, if some of you guys know him out there in the chat, you know, he told me this back in the day during Gears of War 2. And he said, hey, Blaze, he said, sometimes you got to get hit to give an even bigger hit, okay? Ooh, and that holds true in a lot of these strafe battles because your opponent may get that first shot off, but if it's not a brick, you're going to have a gap in that time between shots to get an even better second shot in and win that fight as you close that distance in and get in that one chunk range. That
makes a lot of sense because I see that even now when I'm watching some fights take place, a guy will literally not necessarily bot walk, but he will take damage intentionally, but then ultimately get the chunk. And I'm like, wow, man, you know, he gets hit with the brick, but then all of a sudden he gets chunked, and that does make sense. You know,
and that's where the term holding your shots come from, right?
Okay.
Who's the best player at holding their shots in the league?
You tell me,
Taylor. You know this one.
You tell me.
Just take a wild guess. It's praise. It's praise, guys. Okay.
Okay. Well, I wasn't going to say that.
Praise holds shots.
You can't put me on the spot like that, man. Because I'm be like, I don't know.
I thought it was going to be. I thought you was going to get it. I thought you was going to come close. Okay. Don't worry. I would have saved you anyway. Don't worry about it.
Well, you did save me, man. Praise. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. And that's why you're so good
at holding his shots in a league. Okay. Now, Praise has never been known for having the flashiest movement out there, to be the quickest player in a lobby. But he is sometimes the most evasive, and he does put out the most damage because he will dodge the first shot and hit you with a brick. Or he's going to hit you with a brick the first shot, and if that stumbles you, if you can't match that energy for the chunk, he knows he's going to get a second one in. If not, he got three other teammates that's really good at hitting their shots as well to be able to get that down and make a play off it.
When you talk about Nick Merckx, I wish I could go back in time and experience the gear scene. You know, back whenever, you know, High Distortion was playing, you know, you had Nick Merckx in it. I know you were playing yourself, man, because I just wanted to see, you know, how good you really were. You're talking about these 1v spots. You know, I know you're very salty about the double snipes being removed because that was kind of like your playground on canals. But back then, man, it seemed like it was just a Wild West, and everybody kind of, or it's like a lot of people come from Call of Duty. You can look back and, you know, look at, you know, the history of certain people. I come from Call of Duty myself, but there's so many others that come from Gears too, because it was just such a massive title.
Well, you know, for what it's worth, and it may be a surprise to some people out there, I never really considered myself a pro player. You know, for most of my Gears of War career, I was Mr. 9th place, okay? Top 12, 12th, 9th, 12th, 9th. I did place pro at some events back then, but for my drive, it wasn't enough. it wasn't enough. If I wasn't winning, I didn't give a damn about the other placements, right? But
right, exactly.
And some people, but that's the thing. Some players out here, they get really happy, and you should be really happy with Faith. If you never got it before, you should always be happy with your highest place. And don't get me wrong, folks. Okay, you should take pride in that, but you should always want to win. You should always want a team that can compete with the best. Okay, you want a top 4 squad, and that should always be the goal, to build and getting better, to learn that and get there in those scenarios. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. No. Absolutely.
So, yeah. You always want to win that championship, and if you don't win that championship, you could be good, but you're just good. It wasn't a champion.
The thing. I love that you said that, Blaze, because that was the narrative I had yesterday for Fire and Ice. I think Fire and Ice, they are more motivated now than they ever were. Yes, they got second place, and much respect to them for doing so. I give them a ton of respect. But the way they lost grand finals that me and you casted, Blaze, that deflated them quite a bit. And I know they have a lot more to prove. Scavzy.
It may have deflated them for a second, but my God, for you to get your ass kicked like that in the grand finals, it gotta make you better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta make you better, because
it has to.
I only get better in life when I get my butt kicked, Shaq. I don't know about y'all.
Is that right?
But I need to get my butt kicked a few times for me to come back a stronger player, a stronger man. And I think these 4 players on Fire and Ice this season is going to be something else for them. They're just going to get better and better, because they realize that in their grand finals that they lost because maybe they were too reactional at times to their opponent, and they didn't make the first moves. They didn't set the pace. They didn't kick it off the way that they wanted to. So we're going to see some dominance from them this side of the Pro League if they plan on winning this next championship.
Look at this, man. So we talked about Team K, or at least I mentioned Team Queso yesterday. Get Toti first. I just want to, I don't know, it's kind of like a meme, the way that he is just slowly backing up. He's really pacing this out. Might go into overtime shortly, but I don't know. It just kind of reminded me of like Assassin's Creed with the way that he was just slowly kind of crouching around, especially with the hood on. But, I was like, man, Assassin's Creed, maybe? I don't know. But this is going to be a tough spot. But we have yet to see a clutch on execution. I'm going to be real with you. Day 1, we didn't get any of them. So this might be the chance. Toti says enough is enough. Overtime's about to start. But Scavzy, he's going to make his life a living hell. That long shot is going to be difficult, but he has to shot. Hold out. He's gone. He's off the map now. That ended a lot quicker than I expected it.
He had a chance when he picked up the shot grenade. He had a chance to isolate a 1v1 and stop that hill, but he still had to deal with Scavzy and that snipe in the back. Great effort, but even better start here from the boys of Team Queso, winning some big 1v1s. We were yapping and talking at the kickoff of that one, but let's lock it in here for round number 2. As we are going to see this base initial from both these squads lined up in their 1v1s. You see a few more players shifted towards the lower portion of the map, if anything. And frag grenades will get picked up top.
Okay.
Oh, so this needs to be a quick bow pickup down low, because the flank's coming through. Scavzy can't do nothing about it. It's like he didn't see the nades get picked up.
And at that point, when you put an additional player down low, you are at risk of being flanked, much like that just happened. So something that Team Queso needs to adjust to. It was a great play, but if you are not going to react to it, if you're not going to go all full send for that torque bow when you have an additional player down there, it's not worth it.
100% agree, Taylor. They were slow. They were really slow off that one, because the first thing that you do in execution as a player is that you call your numbers. I got 1, I got 2. I got 1, I got 2. We got 3 here. And so somebody knew that they had 0, okay? So I don't know if they got caught up on deciding on which fight they wanted to take or which fight they wanted to 1v2, but it should have been designed from the start on what they wanted to do.
And you can tell already they're not wanting to go with that same, well, at least Fire and Ice isn't going too down low. Team Queso is going to have that additional player down there, but again, you have to create action. I like this break from Toti. Toti's going to be cutting on the inside. He's looking to challenge. Yachty's going to get the quick pick on the torque bow and gets away. 7 was trying to out-angle him. He can't do it, but now he knows I need to go for the challenge. The torque bow, too much of an impact weapon that I cannot afford to let get away. And Dyslexic is hungry, and he is going to be successful in hunting Yachty down. Torque bow is now gone. It's brought down to a 3v3. Dyslexic now has to rotate over to help out Xploids, not making Bronny's life any easier. Xploids gets the body shots. Hey, we'll take those all day. Dyslexic gets the cleanup. It's a 2v2.
Oh, boy. All right. So now we in this 2v2 scenario, needs are finally going to get picked up. And that's actually surprising me that they wasn't picked up a lot earlier from Fire and Ice, because they did have a player on that side of the map. Now, with the nades being dodged, Xploids 5 shots in this snipe to work with. The Turbo did die early on from an aggressive push from Dyslexic in his 1v1 position to help put F9 in his position. But the Secret Man almost caught Xploids off guard. The quick revive is there. The disengage and nade connects 2v1. Or is it a 1v1?
Oh, no. Barely hits the wall. That would have been a clean shot, too, if that wall just wasn't there. It needs to move over a couple inches to the right. Either way, having that long shot now gives Xploids the power to clutch up in this situation. Utility's out. Nasher, or should be Sniper in hand. Scavzy's gone.
No.
Can he also connect on a Pell? Pell needs to challenge this, but he's also got to be careful. If he gets a reaction shot here, I'm losing my mind.
Is he the best sniper in the game? Are you Xploids? Let me know right now if you are the best. 1v2 scenario, your team needs you. You got one. It's versus Pale. Are you the best?
He got a body shot. He knows he's weak. He's going for the challenge.
God.
And he is going to get it, and he's going to beat him down. He's going to let him know. You had me. What was it? A 2v1? I don't even care. And finally, we get a clutch, baby. We get a clutch.
Exploits. So look at it. The flash stuns Yachty. He knew he was going to get a shot on somebody. He didn't know which one. He thought it may have been Pale, but in the end, man, Yachty, he just felt like he had to run away. He felt like he had to get out of here. And he might have even double stunned him there in that scenario. Fantastic play from him. But we are about to head here into round number 4. So far, Team Queso, they're giving up sniping nades to put more focus on this torque bow.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to see F&I capitalize on picking up these weapons. Give the best sniper in the game his weapon. Go up top, get the nades, but you see Toti, he gets numbers for his squads, so they're not trying to overdo it. Toti gets jumped in the middle. This is a 1v2, not in favor of F&I. You're going to have Team Queso with the man advantage. The sniper goes for the revive, misses the shot. Shotty out, goes down, and this is looking like it's going to be a Team Queso round.
Yeah, Fearzly is left up to his own devices. 1v3, challenges Pell, not going to work. Team Queso will take that victory and tie it up 2-2. The only criticism I guess I can get is Bronny. Bronny being overly aggressive, puts himself between two players from F&I, eventually gets down. But I do appreciate the idea. The aggression could have paid off and worked out, but he was just sniffed out a little bit too early. So we'll see if he kind of tapers that aggression off. Again, that was something that Hive was able to capitalize on yesterday. But Fire and Ice isn't a team that is going to slow down like Hive would. So Team Queso is just going to have to continue to really honestly keep the pedal to the metal, keep going forward and just try to outslay him.
And so Queso's strategy is using a shot grenade to stop the snipe pickup. And they feel like if anyone goes up top and nades, that they're going to be a non-factor. So that's why they're shifting most of their numbers down low. And we're seeing F&I get creative and just put most of their focus up top. They got the snipe and the nades are still up as well.
Xploids, tough spot. Now, this is where he's going to pull off a really, really big snipe if he's able to get it. Not to mention, Toti also has the frags. That's going to be truly impactful. Scavzy will take down Fearzly, but still frags in Toti's hands. Xploids still with the sniper. And if I'm Toti, I'm using these frags to give Xploids some space so he can get out of there or at least engage appropriately. But now he's back up to his own devices. He can't make it happen. The frags, I don't know if they were necessarily thrown, but now it is revenge time, and the beatdown on Xploids is warranted because Fire and Ice threw it out there before. Team Queso's just giving it back.
Oh my God. Yo, he got fight back. Fight back. He ain't got the snipe no more.
No, sir.
Man. Yo, don't worry. That's the type of trash talk we get between both these teams, folks, okay? I am pretty sure F&I will return that favor at some point during this map, if not during this series. So we saw in the last round, F&I put a lot of their focus on getting a snipe. We didn't see the nades get picked up in that exchange, but does F&I want to put more focus on a torque bow? And they will. Sitting 2 players to this area, they're letting their opponent, they're playing towards their opponent's hands instead. You know, they are going to be flashing out that sniper on the other side of the map. They're going to just focus on their kills, not worry too much about power weapons, and just focus on slaying out. First blood already acquired, second blood acquired as well. F&I, they have their eyes on the third guys. Bronny picks up a big kill, but the torque bow, the crossfire from behind is proven to be too much, and Scavzy left by his lonesome. That's going to be a tie round.
There it is. There it is. We knew they were coming. Hey, who's joining it? Is that Dyslexic? Oh, yeah, he's got to get in there. Who else? Toti? Hey, Toti, he'll stay over there. He just give him the L. That's all he's going to do. Dyslexic yesterday, and they're shooting him too, my God. Hey, I know they were giving it to you. Oh, and they threw out. These guys are getting wild, brother. This is a beatdown.
They're talking about strategy for the next round, buying themselves as much time as they possibly can, as well as having some fun.
I like to believe they're just screaming at the top of their lungs. You know what I'm saying? They would be doing it on main stage, would they not? They'd be holding down that button, doing the execution while screaming at the opposite team. They wouldn't be discussing strategy, but I'm going to discuss strategy, Blaze. I love that Fire and Ice adjusted their play style, put less emphasis on the snipe. They know where Team Queso is putting their eggs, and that is down on the torque bow. And the torque bow is a power weapon. Yes, it does play a huge impact. Power weapons across the board in execution plays a huge impact. But you need to battle against the numbers where Team Queso was going, and Fire and Ice did that. But even so, with them going back to the strategy that won them the last round, it's going to be a 3v2. Scavzy has the long shot. Toti, he is in dire straits. Full red. Bronny's going to capitalize and take him out. Now it's up to Dyslexic with the torque.
Scavzy, fantastic job winning his 1v1. Hale, fantastic job pushing mid-map and taking his 1v1 as well. And then Bronny, what the back slap? Oh, he's slapping him with the nade. Okay, that's new. I ain't never seen that one, man. Yeah, with the flash grenade.
See, Bronny is he's a visionary. You know what I'm saying? He's a visionary.
Yeah.
He just graduated high school. He's got a lot of big plans, big ideas for his life, and we're going to be seeing some new insults, new taunts thrown out
we
there.
will.
Slapping him with the flash, that pissed me off.
Oh, there. And so as a visionary, he had the vision on how to win that round. He stayed alive at the end there. So I do want to say good job to him on that one, because that was my next point I was getting towards. Now we are entering round number 8. Can F&I get this one all tied up again? We've been back and forth, folks, and Xploids got his snipe smoked off again, but that Lancer's out and his team is connected with that shotgun.
Fearzly. Great shot onto Scavzy to open it up. Bronny's also down. Long shot's going to be in the hands of Xploids. Fearzly pulls out the Nasher. Great movement. Pell's gone too, and a flawless round for Fire and Ice. Nobody lost. And this could have easily been maybe like a 10-minute execution, but with all the beatdowns extending the round,
going through,
it's now going to be a 20-minute execution.
Tack on some time, folks, okay?
Oh, I'm going to take a sip of my tea, please.
And so when it comes, I'm gonna make me some tea after this one, hell. So when it comes down to it, executions are very useful for 3 reasons, folks, okay? Number 1, in control. In escalation, timing out your opponent, because while they're getting beat down, they're not respawning. So use that one wisely. Number 2, talk about strategy at the end of the round, okay? Let it progress on. Hey, what do we want to do next? Buy some time, okay? And then lastly, number 3, just talking that trash, okay? Letting your opponent know that you are better than them. And that's what makes Gears of War so special. Little intimate moments like that one.
Fearzly letting Pell know, man, just challenge me, brother. Actually, Pell might have an issue here, unfortunately. I think we're going to be at a bit of a stalemate for time being. That's all right. We got that added in for... Imagine if we didn't have stalemate. Imagine if we didn't. Ugh. Imagine restarting this and playing it out. Well, actually, I guess you wouldn't have to.
I got about 15 years of imagination I can give you, all right? I can get creative about some of the crazy things that could happen. 15 years.
Told you, man, if there was a Bible written in Gears, you'd be opening up the story. All right, saying let there be light, Blaze. You old head, brother. You've been out there for some time, all right? Big round. Whoever wins this is going to be on the cusp of winning this map. They'll be at the 5. You need 6 to take it. Torquebow is going to be in Dyslexic's hands. Who's there to challenge him? That was Yachty. So Yachty needed to do a better job taking them down, but Dyslexic connects on the Bronny with the torque and then pulls out the Nasher, takes down Yachty. Now it's going to be left up to Scavzy by himself, and another flawless round looming around the corner as Fire and Ice hasn't dropped anybody, and there it is. Another beat down. Well, Xploids got a little bit too trigger happy there. There we go. That's what I need to see. The Freddy and threw him over the
ledge. Get away from me and the crew.
Get out of my sight.
You don't deserve to be here no more. F&I did a fantastic job over these last few rounds adjusting their strategy. They wanted to do that they start off in that little base level 1v1. They had a guy in the top lane playing for nades, but seeing how their opponent is using that shot grenade to buy time for the torpedo fight, F&I had to adjust, and they mirrored their opponent, and they're playing base man on man, and it's working out for them.
All right, potential final
Team
round.
Queso's in four up top. They said
If
nades
Fire
up
Nice
top.
wins this, it's over. And you said nades up top. So let's see how this is going to unfold. Yachty's about to have a lot of pressure. Pell's doing everything he can with the Lancer, but it's not going to help out. Yachty's going to end up dying off. Fire and Ice might be on their way to yet another flawless round. This will be the third flawless round they've had back to back to back.
Oh, player 2. What was that? Yeah, player 2 is being sneaky. He cuts back, though. His teammates are going to have several 1v1s, but Pale wins his. That's going to be huge.
Toti has that torque bow, though. Scavzy's weak. Dyslexic just needs a couple more shots. There it is. He's going to drop. Pell knows. He's too far away, too far gone. Now up to Bronny and Pell to keep this map alive. I know Team Queso does not want to drop 2-0 in this series, but the possibility is absolutely there since they lost control earlier. Dyslexic has the sniper. Pell has the frags. Now, Fire and Ice needs to understand this. I think they know it. Pell or Bronny from the flank has the potential to be a playmaker, but he's going to get dropped, and now it's up to Pell. Pell takes down 1v2. We've seen it clutch before in this spot. Maybe he can do it himself. Dyslexic almost getting too antsy, putting himself in a 1v1 situation, but Dyslexic's going to show the love as he normally does. Fearzly too. There's no beat that. Well, no, excuse me. I spoke too soon.
Yeah, that flank had as much potential as Money Manziel out there. Okay, hell, because you know it came up just a bit short. In the end, F&I came out with a winning strategy, a winning game plan. They get map number 2 locked in, and you know, fantastic adjustments at the end of that map. We saw Team Queso try to send an extra guy and force something different, but instead they forced F&I to just wolf pack around a map in their strategy, in their number 1 favorite strategy at that. Folks, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we will be putting the Wolfpack Kings on their favorite map, Training Grounds Escalation. It's map number 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you right after this.
Welcome back to Gears Pro League Split 3 Day 2. We are now about to hop into map number 3, Escalation, heading into Training Grounds. But first, Blaze, let's break down this execution that ended in the way 6-4. Fire and Ice takes the victory. Flawless for the last 3 rounds. And because of exploits in that moment, right? Clutching up that 1v2. You had Dyslexic handling his own against Yachty. Not in that clip, but at least before. And I've probably seen more beatdowns in this execution than I've literally ever seen in my entire history of casting Gears.
An entire split 2, okay? We see more executions in this map, dude, than we saw the entire split 2, I think.
That's a fact.
Get it bursting between these boys, but we love it, and we're here for the action, folks. So, the second map here, man, VQ, they came out hot. They got a lead. Bronny was successful getting that torque bow. They had a sound strategy and focusing their numbers towards the bottom portion of the map. But F&I adjusted. They forced them to play man on man. And not VQ, and Team Queso did not make those adjustments back. They came in with a game plan. It worked out for the first half, but we know series and games, they're won in the second half most of the time, okay? And that's what F&I did here. I love the adjustments. They got to Wolfpack in the end. They completely just disregarded the sniper strategy for Xploids. Even though he clutched up rounds with it, they said, you know what? We're just going to play for kills in this moment, and it worked out for them.
And you know, to be fair, Fire and Ice, despite getting that sniper multiple times, it really didn't play that big of an impact, at least earlier on. And you can tell because Fire and Ice said, all right, let's go ahead and send more players for the torque bow. And that's why they started meeting the aggression from Team Queso, which ended up working out more in Fire and Ice's favor than anything else. Bronny got a little bit over aggressive here and there. Again, I like the idea, but he put himself in a 1v2 in a lot of situations he shouldn't have been. I'd like to see once again Team Queso kind of taper off that aggression and kind of fight for each other more so than fighting as individuals. It's a little bit more difficult in Tomb, but they put themselves in that situation where they were relocating what, 2 or 3 players for that torque bow. They did have the ability to team fire and play as a team. They just played more so as individuals. Highly unfortunate. But as we head into Training Grounds, I only get more worried for Team Queso. Again, Fire and Ice beat Pittsburgh Knights yesterday here 5-3 on TG to wrap up the series 3-0. And if you look at Team Queso, they lost yesterday in Escalation. Granted, on Vascar, different map. They lost 5-0. And that shows me Team Queso, something isn't clicking. But Bronny, I guess, is going to shut me up. That is a beautiful opening. 3 players down. Fearzly last up for F&I.
Yeah, we know he know how to play this game mode. Okay, we know how good he is right here at Escalation. at the tip of the spear, at the apex of the fight. Bronny slayed out. Went across map, decapped his opponent's home heal. But Team Queso taking their time when it comes up to capping B. Player 2 was not in position in time at the overlook to be able to shoot down and help his teammate. And because that happened, his opponent in Fire and Ice will be able to lock in his B heal. So Queso, they're forced to overextend the map, try to take their opponent's home heal, so they don't feel like that initial was worth nothing because they played it fantastically. But in this moment, they are trapped. They are getting picked apart, and F&I has just taken map control in the lead.
They absolutely have, and that's going to be their retake, potential, their retake possibility. Team Queso is going to have to battle against that. It's one thing to win the initial, yes, but it's another to win that second wave of engagements, and Fire and Ice is going to be even stronger off that second wave as far as I'm concerned. Bit of a trade there taking place. Pell is out. Fire and Ice continues to push over. Domination, I can see, is looming around the corner any second. Oh, maybe not. So, 5 does get the kill.
Yeah. So Bronny taking out Xploids there on the flank. We can kind of see him playing at a faster pace in this map currently. But F&I picking up 2 kills, knowing that they have a 3v2 in front of them, they should have no issues with the focus fire getting these remaining 2. Scavzy almost got there on the flank to pick up 1, but I don't think it would have made a difference in the end here, folks. F&I, they're going to strike first.
So let's talk about it a little bit. That opening from Team Queso, very strong. Granted, it's because of one particular player, Bronny, right? Bronny gets a massive 3-piece. That's literally what it took for Team Queso to have a strong opening. You notice Yachty and Pell still without an elimination. Bronny, a lot of people in chat are saying, Bronny is washed, go back to rank and this and that. Bronny is literally, in my opinion, the best player on Team Queso currently. As you even just said, we have seen what Bronny brought to VQ. He brought tremendous value. He, unfortunately, now has been moved to a different team, but great for Team Queso, in my opinion. But again, Bronny is not the issue at all, in my opinion. I think Bronny is going to play off. But if Bronny doesn't pop, even with Bronny popping off, getting the 3-piece, you can still see how Fire and Ice was so easily able to take control.
I would like to say that Pale is the best player on this team, but I gotta agree with you, man. It's definitely gonna be Bronny. Bronny is that guy as far as the skill and the knowledge in which he's brought to the squad. But my question is towards it all is that, is he going to be, a front spawn slayer for this team, or is he going to play a similar position that he did when he was on the VQ roster, right? And because he can't just fill in sales positions on this map here, and this squad can keep, moving forward, I think Bronny will have no issues playing there, but I want to see what Team Queso's identity is going to evolve into in their playstyle, because Scavzy and Yachty, you cannot sleep on these guys. They improved so much throughout the last season, but we got new game modes, and I want to see how they're going to progress now. Now, you see the initial coming out here for F&I. 3 members surrounding these 2 players up top. They got a flank in player number 4. Bronny just trying to stay alive till Pale can get there. Pale gets 1. Pale gets 2.
Good spacing.
And great the revive here. So that was a great save when it comes down to keeping this overlook control. But when it comes to the lead, F&I, they just have a slight 20-point lead for now. That's nothing that Team Queso can overcome.
Pell made the right decision. He was going to be in that battle on the opposite end of Yachty for Bravo. And he said, my team needs help on overlook. And the reason why is because 6 and 8, that was Dyslexic and Toti, went for an overextension. They went down low, and that's why they were so successful, at least initially, in that overlook fight against Team Queso. But Pell, great spacing, wonderful job, not only picking up an elimination, but also getting Bronny back into the fight. That allows Team Queso to be in a position they're currently at, fighting for a domination. It's not going to come yet, but overall, Team Queso has closed out a lot of that deficit. They have finally overturned the point lead, and they put themselves in a potential winning spot. But Fire and Ice is not going to let go that easily, and you can already see the pressure on Scavzy is very real. Big movement across. Bronny flies in. Bronny picks up 2. Scavzy gets to clean up on the Toti, and Team Queso is absolutely holding on and taking away this round.
Oh, they truly are, man. That was a great push. Going from overlook across the map to win that big team battle on top of the home hill, and now we're gonna lock this one in. And that was an important round here for Team Queso. They needed that for the momentum sake of it all, because F&I, they feel very confident in this series 3-0 currently, but Queso, man, they got to fight back. And I will say Bronny has been making plays throughout these 3 rounds. He has been winning some big fights, but his team is going to have to play at his pace, because I think they are just a little bit behind how fast he's playing. Because once he gets those keys, he's playing at a VQ pace right now, okay? Team Queso is playing at a Queso pace. Or
I mean, that's true. That's true, so, man. You know, but
okay, it's like if you was to pour cheese down a slide, how long will it take to get down there? Versus you pour water. Actually, if it was a hot slide, it may go down fast. Brother, my analogy. That was the best I can come up with.
Hey, yesterday you said it's not that deep, Taylor, and you know what? I'm telling you right now, it's not that. You talk about cheese on a slide, and if it's hot enough, will you be able to slide faster? Maybe if it's cold. We talking about blocks of cheese. We talking about nacho cheese. Man, you getting a little bit wild. I do agree with you though with what you were saying. Bronny right now is playing at a different level, and Team Queso, quite honestly, does need to step it up. I do want to highlight though Pell in that last round. He was a large reason why why they were able and so successful win overlook and ultimately win that round. Pell was the hero in the last round, despite Bronny picking up huge eliminations, 2 pieces towards the tail end. This round, though, definitely does not go to the way of Team Queso. Fire and Ice starts off very aggressively. They win the overlook fight. They're successful in the 1v for Bravo, and now Team Queso is forced to fight back.
All right, so Queso, it starts with this battle up top as Yachty is trying to keep overlook under his team's control, and he will be able to do just that with the help of his teammates. So, currently pushing back Fire and Ice. They are going to make a play for this home hill once again. They know that they only have 1 player in front, but that cross from the side, it was able to help them get it down, but that down couldn't get cleaned up, and with the quick revive coming through, that player is at full health. So, Team Queso able to bully their way across the map for the home hill setup. Now, Toti flanked across towards enemy lines. He's already pulled 2 players back towards the other side of the map, so even if he dies now, he knows that he has gave his team crucial information to get their home hill back.
Bronny picks up at least one. Scavzy picks up the other, but Fire and Ice, unfortunately, for Team Queso is answering right back. That's going to give them the 2-1 and the point lead still. Player 3, though, does find a way to get on B, but he's about to be quickly outnumbered. He sticks it, gets the full cap, but it's going to be very short-lived. Player 7 is going to be on the other side of the map. That's Fearzly for Fire and Ice. He's about to be in a 1v3. He at least gets the D cap. The rest of F&I is going to be on B, locking that hill in to give the 2-1 back in Fire and Ice. And again, the neutral is the most critical hill to have, at least at this point in time, because now Fire and Ice is going to be able to at least overextend to A if they want to. They can backtrack, and I think that's going to be the play they need to make, because Xploids is by himself, and he's got a couple of Team Queso members pressuring up on him. Let's see if he can hit some big shots. He does not, but Yachty gets a team kill on Pell. That is unfortunate, because now that's less members that's over there.
Yeah, and Pell was right there behind him to another side of cover. I don't know how he killed him in that moment, but you're gonna see F&I, after cleaning up that battle, B hill, C hill, locked in. The rest of these fights are gonna matter. They're gonna strike first. Well, strike for the 3rd time, the 2nd time in round number 3. So good job to them. So far when it comes down to Fire and Ice, they have been doing a good job at retakes, okay? But also, I could say the same thing about Team Queso. Neither one of these squads have came out and decisively taken momentum for map number 3. It honestly can go either way, but we'll see how this round number 4 goes and see if Team Queso can strike back once again and get us all tied up 2-2.
One of the things Fire and Ice did last night against Pittsburgh Knights is they placed a long shot where Bronny is currently hovering. Of course, Bronny wants that shock. He understands the value for it, especially heading into the second half. Having that shock to fight for overlook is absolutely massive. It's a must-have. But either way, though, I am curious if Fire and Ice kind of does that again, because it worked out so well for them before. You have a big power player that's Xploids, even dyslexic. Either or. I'd rather give it to Xploids, but he truly has the potential to dictate the pace of the round. Big fight on overlook once again. 3v3. Player 6 down low is going to be able to blindside 1. That's Scavzy gone. Dyslexic now is going to be forced to fight as Yachty takes him down. Fire and Ice though effectively pushes back Team Queso. But one good thing about TQ is, Pell does win the 1v on the opposite end. He takes down Fearzly and ultimately secures Bravo. So Team Queso has the 2-1, and now they can focus on stopping the second wave of F&I players.
All right, so Team Queso in a good position, but how is F&I going to break this setup? letting Fearzly kind of rotate through mid-map. He gets a position now. Player 4, he has to keep tabs on Fearzly and player 6 as well, because Fearzly could cut back, go for the flank if he wanted to, but instead he's going to cut back with his teammates. The crossfire up top, player 6 does a fantastic job getting back in position, but Fearzly has to worry about Pale's cross as well. All these players that overlook trap, they can't stand up, but in the end, the cleanup comes through for F&I as they have overextended towards their opponent's home hill. They're looking to get B next, but they need to figure out where's player 1 hiding.
Player 1, Yachty, is I mean, he's kind of in the thick of it. I'm curious, does Xploid know he's here?
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't. Okay, so he does know, but the flash allows him to get out, and Yachty's gonna double back. So what is the game plan for him here, Blaze? Is he gonna join the cavalry to push through the choke point? I guess that's gonna be the play.
Yeah, no, he's trying to group with his teammates. He doesn't want to be alone here. He was the first player to go into the fight, but you know, he missed the part that his teammate went down and had to get revived. He felt like he can get up there and make the play. He soaked up damage from 2 players, but him being a little bit too fast, they got to wait for him to come off respawn. Now, luckily, they played a fantastic first half of this round, and they had to lead. They just lost it, but they can get it back if they win this team fight.
Fearzly's been doing such a good job at that advanced position, ultimately falling, but Fire and Ice, they've got a decent point lead. Team Queso can still take the win condition back, and they're looking to do so by getting onto A. You also have 2 members from TQ who's going to be on Bravo. Player 6 is by himself, picks up player 3, and also Fire and Ice is winning and countering Team Queso on Alpha. This is going to be an F&I round. They're going to lead 3-1 heading into the second half.
Yeah, man, coming off that team fight, you know, I think Team Queso, they definitely had an opportunity to win it there in that last push, but F&I backing up in that defensive position. Each layer that Team Queso had to push through, F&I made it difficult. They made it hard for them to get through the overlook for free. They made it hard to cross from the overlook to their home hill for free. And then they also was annoying in taking their numbers and rotating down low towards the range to make sure that player didn't have an easy time on that side of the map, forcing Team Queso to have to make a difficult, perfect play. And when you have a lead, sometimes just creating a little chaos in a late game will be your win condition there. And we know if there's any team that knows how to create a little chaos, you know, like I like to say, unpredictable like fire, okay, adaptable like ice. That's these boys over here on the Swarm Squad.
Fire. What'd you call him? The Wolfpack specialist? What was it before? We're heading into break.
The Wolfpack Kings. I think that was.
Wolfpack Kings. Yes, Wolfpack, and they really are the Wolfpack Kings. They really are.
I don't know anybody who could Wolfpack better than them at this point, to be honest, because they play so fast, and even though they play as a team, all 4 members have this individual confidence about them, where they know that they don't need their teammates.
Right. All right, so player 7, Fearzly, might go on an overextension. Actually, he's just going to go ahead and go on the flank, and he needs to. Scavzy's going to get the first one onto Toti. Fearzly's going to answer back with 2 of his own. Very well done, and that flank, huge for him. Now they got player 4, Pel, who went for the full OE, and he's got that bolt talk in, so great shot. Connects onto all 3. That kind of overexposes himself. He probably falls into spot, so maybe not the best play. I know he wanted that finish, but was it really worth it? At this point, Fire and Ice. Yeah, please tell me, was it worth it?
Several different routes he could have cleaned up that kill with. That's all I want to say. He didn't have to do it the way that he did.
But he dove head first. He said, I earned this. I connected all 3. I'm dying for this kill. You better believe it. And he did.
I would have baited his teammate out. Hell, I would have went up to the top heaven and just shot down. Say, hey, you can come get me if you want, but he didn't have to worry about a flank, and he tried to clean up a little bit quicker. But you know, mishaps happen. But it's all about how you come back from those mishaps and make up for it. He took a kill to the grave, and his teammates were in position to be able to fight this 3v3 team fight. So in the grand scheme of things, you know, it didn't make much of a deal about anything. So you're going to see a 2-to-1 hill set up for Team Queso, but Toti in their spawn, pistol out, put out a lot of damage. He knows he could take this fight. Gets the down, has to stay in cover, but he has no help. But can he take the 1v2? Not today.
Not today. Getting that pickup was big, allowing it to be a 2v1. Scoreline very close. Scavzy is putting as much damage as he possibly can, and that's going to be 1 down. Dyslexic still up. He's about to get swarmed on, and Pell is going to be just to his left. Scavzy in front. He tries to force the issue on Scavzy. Not going to work out. Xploids is also down. Team Queso, for what it's worth, Blaze, and these team fights have been looking absolutely incredible, and they're not going to overextend. They're not going to overutilize their numbers. They're just going to stick it, play defense. This is just good, straight escalation.
No, it is some good escalation. You see Bronny backs himself up in the corner with a Lancer, waits to the last minute to get the kill, pistol out, helping a teammate. Michio takes the flash. Now he couldn't get the win against this Lexic, and Toti gets revived. Did Toti trade that kill out as he was going down? They brought themselves 12 seconds, but I don't think they make it across in time. Yeah, because that's why we get in that execution. Yachty was like, yeah, bro, you tried it.
Yeah, it was Xploids. Xploids tried. He went for the overextension, and if he pulls off some heroics, maybe Fire and Ice, kind of sneaks that round, but the end result, obviously, is them not doing so. Break that down for me, though. Team Queso in those big team fights, and maybe not necessarily off the initial, but you got to point out, though, we do see Pell go for the overextension. He hits the 3 Boltok shots. He overexposes himself. He ends up dropping. But shortly after that, even though Pell makes a mistake, in my opinion, the rest of his teammates still swarm over to overlook, win that engagement, and they did not let the neutral go from that point forward. They were just absolutely powerful. What was so instrumental in Team Queso winning that last round? Was it just simply winning the engagement on overlook, time in and time out?
It was Bronny. I want to say, if I got to give any player some credit for it, is Bronny there at the top of the fight at overlook. He won his engagement. He was annoying. I think Yachty won his battle down low towards the east side of hill. Now, I didn't see if it was a shot grenade there to help stop that choke point, but I did see multiple smokes, and they held their ground towards the end. So good job to them. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of an issue here off the start, but we'll get that one taken care of soon.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Seems like there's always an issue here and there, with
it's online.
With certain matches,
folks.
There's certain matches. It's all right though. We'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. We don't really need to figure anything out. We just got to talk.
Yeah, we just need to talk.
We're just here. You know what I'm saying? Toti will be back. We'll figure it out and get the game going once again. 3-2. No power weapons on the board just yet. Team Queso hasn't had their hill decap, so Fire and Ice says we'll go ahead and give you a lead. It's pretty bold strategy, but hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, before this is over, this is gonna get stalemated, so those points won't make a difference. But Taylor, you asked me earlier in the show, some of my favorite moments of the Pro League earlier. What was you and Jacob's? One of y'all favorite moments yesterday when it came down watching day 1 of split number 3?
I'm going to go to Rise and Oxygen. Man, Icy played out of his mind. I'm very impressed with the way Icy just slayed out. I think overall Rise played pretty incredible. There was a couple of shaky moments. I'm curious how they'll fare off in their series today. It's not going to be easy. They do have Rebel. We already know Rebel is an incredible team, but they had shortcomings of their own. Like Rebel was not flawless yesterday by any means. Rise wasn't either. So it's going to be a tough matchup, but it was Icy. I think Icy played out of his mind. I was very happy from the performance of Detox. Obviously losing Fran as your IGL, just a legendary figurehead as he is. It's not an easy adjustment, but it seems like Rise have been putting in the work. They've been grinding. Their DNA is a little bit different. They're more aggressive than they once were, but they still have the brain power and the smarts that they had before. So I think Rise, this is their split to take.
This definitely could be their split to take. I like what I saw of them yesterday, but when it comes down to Rise Nation, the number one thing I want to see from them is just going to be consistency. So their match today against Rebel is going to tell me a lot about the squad. But focusing back on this series, as we go back into Fire and Ice versus Team Queso, we see a 2v2 battle at the home hill and the cross map, a 2v2 battle at E as well. Team Queso trying to wrap around their opponent's spine, catch these two players off guard, but Fearzly and Toti, they just leave. They're gonna leave. They says, hey, work smarter, not harder. Let's disengage. Go help our teammates out. But Pale already got first blood.
And Scavzy's also going to be hanging out in Overlook. So this isn't going to be easy for Fire and Ice by any means. And you can already tell, Fearzly down. Team Queso, once again, a great start. They have gone for the overextension off the rip. Both rounds that they have been successful in winning, or at least the one round before. Toti will retake the hill, but Team Queso already has the pressure there. He's going to be joined by Dyslexic, and a potential for Fire and Ice to win this engagement is here, but you're fighting in your opponent's spawn, right? That's never an easy thing to kind of hold for a long period of time.
Yeah, it's not something that you can hold, especially if you got players that are down and coming up off the respawn. But off the first blood that Pale was able to acquire, Team Queso communicated and they were able to stop that play, that unorthodox play that Fire Knights try to run, as they were going to flank the overlook and try to get map control from there. Because of that first kill, Team Queso was able to hold on to the E hill, was able to defend their home hill from that assault that FNI brought. Now they're getting ready for the second team fight, and it's starting off well for them.
Bronny picks up Xploids, forced to fight out or at least apply that pressure. He's going to be very important with that retro. It's not going to make it easy for Fire Knights to push through that choke point. Once they pick up Toti up top, things are going to be a little bit easier for them. They know Bronny's in a power spot. He just continues to pop off. Good movement. Even though he drops, he's going to get picked back up, but the man has 14 eliminations, and again, so instrumental to Team Queso's success. This has been such a one-sided round. Team Queso's taking this with ease.
Yeah, they really are. And, you know, off a 2-2 strategy to kind of kick this one off, you know, it worked out for them. Fire Knights adjusted, but Team Queso, when it comes down to these 2v2 battles, 2v2s, you know, they felt really comfortable there. You know, some squads are going to feel more comfortable in 2v2s and 3v3s versus like 4v4s, you know? And at this level of gameplay, we probably will rarely see a 4v4. If anything, we may see it on this map. If a power weapon goes down over there towards the overlook, we'll see 8 players on this side of the map. Typically, we see 3. But in 4v4 Gears of War, you can always force your opponent to match your numbers. So if Team Queso wants to send 2 players down low once again, and their opponent has 3 on the top portion of the map, with a shot grenade, you can fight a 2v3, no problem. Okay, if your opponent does not want to match your numbers, well, you will find an advantage somewhere on the map. But it just comes down to making a decision on if you want to run a 3-1, the 2-2, or just send 4 players to one side of the map. But when your opponent responds off the initial, you should always know what the next objective is going to be, rather if you're stopping a fight or you're rotating out.
And there's the long shot for Fire and Ice. They did this yesterday versus Pittsburgh Knights, and they did such a great job with kind of isolating this fight. Xploids, he was always the first player in and the first player out, getting that long shot consistently, and we already know what he can do. Fire and Ice is okay with giving up more, you know, or having less presence up top. They know they need to focus now, especially with Bronny. That's not a play that you need to see happen, though, if you're Fire and Ice. You place the long shot in, you allow Bronny literally to get out unscathed. Xploids didn't even try to challenge him.
Yeah, nah, he did it, you know, and that's not like Xploids, you know. He don't like giving them no free scopes. Definitely a good reason why. Now, with that kill coming through, that's a down from long range. I don't think he gets cleaned up, though. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. Dyslexic right there to pick that one up. And from this moment on, this is going to be a 2v2 fight at E. Bronny was snipe in hand. Got 2 targets in front of him. Oh, but he needs to be careful. That player right there. He didn't even see the one that was close. Now he's going to just choose to get out and switch spots with Plale so he can work the long range angles from the back.
I don't know what it is, man, but Fire and Ice was looking pretty flat, not only the last round, but the early portions of this round, and they're going to need to figure out what is taking place. It seems as if they're finally waking up. That's 3 gone, and they're going to go ahead and hit that overextension. 1 player to deal with, and that's going to be Yachty. That's a trade, and that's a great trade, because now Fire and Ice, they looked as if they wanted to go for the OE, for the domination, but the only player that's over there now is Dyslexic. The rest of the players had to dip out because of the trade just a little bit earlier, so Team Queso will be able to Wolfpack once again over towards E. We also know the fresh long shot will be coming up eventually, but at this point in time for Fire and Ice, they have the win condition, but through that choke point, look at that Lancer fire from Toti. And again, much like the same thing Bronny was in that same position, right? He's just able to pepper non-stop shots. But even so, Team Queso finds a way to break through.
Yeah, I agree with you, Taylor. Fire and Ice look a little bit lackluster here. That pause, Toti may have, you know, just kind of disrupted the energy of the squad, but I'm pretty sure that was unintentional, and he's going to find a way to get it back up here for his team because, you know, he is one of the IGLs of this squad. He's going to be making some call outs. He's going to be leading the troops as his boys is fighting. You know, Toti has experience competing, so, you know, on strictly NA teams and strictly LATAM teams. So Toti, he's been across the board and he knows a lot, but he's going to have to find a way to get his team out of this position as he works wide. He's going to be able to pick up a kill on Yachty, has help in the area. That's a decap on E. And when that hill gets captured up, F&I will have the win condition.
Ooh, they definitely will. This is an important round for F&I, given the fact that they looked flat just a little bit earlier, but being at match point, series point is going to give them, I think, new life. Big body shot on the Pell. Xploids knows his time is going to be short, takes him down, and that's going to be a 250. Fire and Ice finally, match point, series point up 4-3, and we'll see if they can put the final nail in the coffin heading into round 8.
All right, let's see if they can do it. But that was definitely a must-win round for them, because if they don't get that one, I think all that momentum's in the hand of Team Queso as we head on over towards our second control map of the series. But sniper rifle, as we saw, is going to be dead center. But for the F&I pick, what do they want to place down first? And it's probably just going to be the Retro Lancer upgrade here towards the incendiary for both these squads. Unless the boys want to block it out here, the boys of Team Queso, do you guys not want to fight for that anymore?
Well, this is the thing. It's tricky, right? Because you can block it out now, go to round 9, but you're still going to have to fight for it in round 9. So at this point, it's better to just get your ensign, get your utility, and kind of match that and try and readjust. Because let's not forget, Bronny did get the first long shot. Exploits did not challenge him at all. So even though the long shot may have played an impact, or at least it kind of dictates the start, it's not like Team Queso is doing a bad job with it. And right there, Exploits Lancered out. He's gone, and a free route to get that long shot is here. Fire and Ice off the rip will, in fact, though, be going for a Mr. Krabs situation as player 7 rotates down, gets the fresh ensign grenades, and he's going to start getting the cap.
This could be
Team
over.
Queso needs to get this.
They don't know what to do. They're panicking. They're like, what the hell, guys? What the hell? That's the series, folks.
Man.
It don't matter if it's control, execution, or escalation. F&I against Team Queso is just better in all 3 game modes. That's a hot 3-0, folks.
And you know what's impressive about that is the fact that they 3-0'd Pittsburgh Knights yesterday, and now Fire and Ice 3-0's Team Queso. They are currently not only undefeated, right, whenever it comes to Pro League so far, 2-0. They have also not lost a single map yet. Still a lot more to be played out in Pro League, ladies and gentlemen, but at least as of right now, Fire and Ice is, I believe, no, they're not the only undefeated team yet. There's a couple more that can still be undefeated, but they are the first one to at least be 6-0 currently. Yeah,
and I think we have 2 other ones out there. United being one of those squads, and then we had one more 3-0 that happened on broadcast.
That was VQ.
VQ. Okay, so United, VQ, and F&I has those potential. Well, have not lost the map so far.
Right.
And but hey, we still got a lot of time in today to figure out if that holds true at the end of the day. Now, as we go back towards this last map, it was a map in which F&I was able to get control in round number 4 as they won the first half 3-1. It was a back and forth battle early on. We saw a lot of engagements happening at the overlook and at the U. But in the second half, we see VQ come back, a few home hill to home hill pushes, and Bronny making some big time plays and really just slaying out and setting the pace for his team. They were able to get it all tied up, but in the end, it wasn't enough to close it out.
Yeah, if I had to give some praise, naturally, you have to give it to Bronny. We've been highlighting him. You're even seeing here in this play, goes 16-8 with only 11 deaths. He gets a little bit better towards the end. I like that Pell was able to dictate some of the matches for Team Queso in multiple moments. One of those being like round 2 or 3, where he ended up getting those bolt talk shots and then rotating over to help the overlook fight. That was massive, and that gave Team Queso one of the most dominant round wins they have had. Exactly, and that gave Team Queso one of the most dominant round wins. That flank you were just mentioning. But one thing, though, that teams need to take note on, that's happened now twice on Training Grounds Escalation, whether it be against PK or against Team Queso. Fire and Ice at some point, once they get their retro, once they get their shot grenade, they're going to be placing a long shot in hell. That is just one of their staples that has worked for them